hold for those who dare to look,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That feeling you get when you just get lost in a book,
Right.
that little whisper, like maybe you might just get in touch with that little kid in you who clapped for Tinkerbell.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And for all that, a trumpet blast for the imagination. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
You, our listener, you brought us here. You sent in this stack of like really cool excerpts.
Oh, I was excited to dig in.
Oh, yeah. We are so ready to just jump in.
Deep dive.
Yeah, exactly. Our destination today, well, it's the endlessly inventive world of The Neverending Story by Michael Ende.
I loved that book growing up.
Oh, yeah. Me too. And so our mission for this deep dive, well, we really want to unpack that initial magic, right? How does this story even start?
Right.
How does Bastian's story begin, and how does Atreyu's quest, that great quest, launch? What are the elements that really set this whole epic in motion?
It's really well crafted how Ende sets it all up.
It really is. It's just so masterfully done. So, okay, it all begins with Bastian Balthazar Bux, right? And he is a boy who doesn't just read. He dives headfirst into a story.
Head first, totally. He gets so absorbed in the stories he's reading that it's almost as if he's right there with them, like seeing and hearing everything.
Oh, I do that too. Sometimes I'll be reading and then I'll like look up and I'm startled because I've completely forgotten where I am.
Yeah, totally. It really speaks to the power of stories, right?
Oh, absolutely.
How they can transport us to different worlds and let us escape reality for a while.
So where do we find Bastian at the start of the book?
Well, he's hiding, isn't he? Skipping out on nature study. I mean, let's be real. Who wants to count pistils and stamens?
I never liked that part of science class.
No, thank you. And he's definitely avoiding history with Mr. Drone.
Oh my gosh.
Even the name just sounds dreadful.
Right. And poor Bastian's memory for dates, well, that just seems to be a constant source of, well, amusement for Mr. Drone.
Yeah, not a great situation for Bastian.
Not at all. It really just paints this picture of a boy who feels out of sync with the ordinary routines of school, right? But the important thing is, this book he finds, it's not just any book for Bastian, right?
Exactly. It's like it speaks to him on a really personal level, almost as if it were written just for him.
It's like the story says, it's the right book.
It's so true.
And how about the way time changes for him?
Right.
Like hours just disappear when he's reading, but when he's in school, the day just drags on forever.
Yeah, I think anyone who's ever gotten lost in a good book knows that feeling.
Oh, totally.
Huh.
Okay, well, let's turn the page with Bastian and journey into Fantastica, where things aren't quite so bright.
Yeah, a shadow is falling there.
It really is. So we're introduced to the Ivory Tower.
Oh, it's so amazing.
And it's not just a building, right? It's described as an entire city.
A city made entirely of white Fantastica ivory.
Whoa! White Fantastica ivory. It's like the most intricate, delicate lacework you can imagine.
And it's huge, city-sized. Just an incredible, beautiful structure.
It's amazing, and it's the heart of Fantastica, and it's also where the Childlike Empress lives.
Right. And at the very top of the ivory tower, nestled in this pavilion shaped like a magnolia blossom.
Oh, I love that detail.
Yeah, so beautiful.
That's where she resides. But this piece is shattered, isn't it? Because along comes Vushvazul, the little night hob.
Tiny little guy.
Yeah, tiny little guy. And he's convinced he's the first one to reach the tower with this really urgent news.
He flew right over the labyrinth, that amazing garden maze.
This beautiful image, right? All these gardens and fountains, and it's all supposed to be for pleasure, but things are not good and fantastic.
Yeah, he's one of 5 imperial messengers who are all urgently summoned to the throne room. And it's there that things get really serious.
Oh, yeah. They find the Childlike Empress, and she's very ill.
Gravely ill. And right away, the story links her illness to this growing destruction that's consuming Fantastica.
It's almost as if the fate of this whole magical world is tied to her health.
Right. It's like her well-being is directly connected to the health and vitality of Fantastica itself.
And we know this isn't just like a cold or something, right?
No. This is something much deeper and more profound.
So enters Karen the Centaur.
A wise and authoritative figure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he arrives bearing something very special. Auryn.
The gem, also known as the Glory. This medallion with the 2 snakes biting each other's tails.
It's such a striking image.
It really is, and it's super important in Fantastica. It's the symbol of someone acting with the Empress's direct authority.
Like a royal seal of approval.
Exactly, and it's thought to have these mysterious powers.
Okay, yeah. So Karen announces something called the Great Quest.
Right, they need a pathfinder, a hero, to find a way to help the Childlike Empress.
And who is chosen for this very important task?
Well, it's a young warrior named Atreyu.
Atreyu. Okay, so tell us about Atreyu.
He lives in the grassy ocean.
The grassy ocean.
Yeah, it's this vast prairie that lies beyond the Silver Mountains. And Atreyu, he's an orphan. He was raised by the whole community.
So, like, everyone's his parent.
Exactly, and that's why his name means son of all. It's so interesting how Ende draws a subtle parallel here with Bastian. Oh, how so?
Well, because even though Bastian has a father, he still feels like nobody's son in a way.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Both characters, they're kind of isolated, each in their own way.
Interesting. So what is Atreyu's mission?
Karen gives him specific instructions. Search, inquire, never judge, never interfere directly.
Wow, that sounds tricky.
It is, but here's the other thing. He's supposed to be guided and protected by AUIN. Right.
Right.
But his own opinions don't count. And to top it all off, he has to go unarmed.
Unarmed. So no sword, no bow and arrow.
Nothing. It's a really unusual and difficult task.
Yeah, that's a pretty tall order for a first mission. So Atreyu just sets off right away, doesn't he?
He does. No hesitation. He mounts his horse. Artax.
I love Artax.
Oh, me too. Artax is described as small but incredibly fast, a tireless runner. Perfect for a quest like this.
But even Artax thinks it's a little strange that they're going on this quest without any weapons. He actually questions Atreyu about it.
It's a really interesting detail. I think so too. So at the same time, all of this is happening. There's something else going on that no one really notices.
Oh, right. That shadowy creature.
Yeah, this four-legged creature with glowing green eyes appears on this remote heath. It sniffs the air like it's caught a scent, and then it runs off.
It's almost like a hint of something sinister lurking in the background.
Yeah, something's not right. Meanwhile, Bastian is totally engrossed in his book.
Still up in that attic, lost in the story.
Lost in the story. The clock strikes 11, the other kids are out at their break, but Bastian is still up there hidden away.
You know, it's amazing how he starts to blur the lines between the story and his own reality.
Totally. He actually starts pretending to be Atreyu, riding Artax.
It's so natural, right?
Completely, like a kid just totally lost in his imagination.
But then reality comes knocking, doesn't it?
It always does. He shouts out loud and feels silly, and his stomach rumbles. He realizes how hungry he is.
That sandwich and apple just aren't going to cut it.
He's literally rationing his food.
Oh, poor Bastian.
I know, right? But then he gets drawn back into the story, and Atreyu's journey takes a very dark turn.
Oh yeah, the nothing.
The nothing. Tell us about that.
Well, Atreyu enters this howling forest.
Okay.
And as he travels deeper, everything starts losing its color.
What do you mean?
Like, things become less real, and then there's this complete and utter nothingness.
So it's not just empty space.
No, it's more like this force, this void that consumes and erases everything in its path.
That's terrifying.
It really is. It's this idea of a void that's more than just emptiness.
In Atreyu.
He's terrified. He has to get out of there, and quickly. But then he has this dream.
Oh, tell me about this dream.
Okay, so he dreams of this purple buffalo, the very creature he was supposed to be hunting.
Okay.
And in the dream, the buffalo actually speaks to Atreyu.
Whoa.
Yeah, it tells him about this creature called Morla the Aged One.
Morla the Aged One?
Yeah, she lives on Tortoiseshell Mountain in the Swamps of Sadness. The buffalo suggests that Atreyu should seek her out.
Okay, so back in the schoolhouse, Bastian is having his own struggles.
Right, gym class.
Gym class. Not exactly a heroic quest, is it?
No, but even during this totally normal, kind of awkward situation, he can't help but compare himself to Atreyu.
He wants to be brave and strong like Atreyu.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Atreyu continues his journey north.
North into a darkening landscape.
The light's fading, the twilight is setting in, and then he sees the northern lights.
Wow, what a beautiful and eerie image.
It really is. You can just imagine Atreyu riding through this otherworldly landscape.
Oh, totally. So, while all this is happening, back in the attic, the school day is finally ending.
About time.
It is. The clock strikes 1, and silence descends on Bastian.
You can feel that silence, can't you? It's heavy, like something's about to happen.
Definitely. So Bastian has a choice to make, right?
Right. He could go home, back to the familiar,
Right.
but he chooses to stay in the attic and keep reading.
What makes him stay?
I think it's this growing sense of commitment he feels towards the story, almost like a pride in this solitary adventure he's on with the book.
He sees himself in Atreyu's courage and determination.
Absolutely. So Atreyu keeps going, and he reaches this massive obstacle called the Deep Chasm.
The Deep Chasm. What's that?
It's a seemingly bottomless crack in this desolate place called the Land of the Dead Mountains.
Okay, so not exactly cheerful.
No, not at all. And get this. Atreyu throws a stone into the chasm, and he can't even hear it hit the bottom.
Whoa, so it's super deep.
Deep. He realizes he can't cross it, so he has to go around.
And he knows that if he goes around, he might run into something truly terrifying.
Ygrimmel, the horror of horrors.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Right. Atreyu only knows about Ygrimmel from this old song, and it doesn't sound good.
So he journeys along this chasm, right?
He does, and it's not easy. The terrain is treacherous, and he's constantly battling his fear.
Understandably so.
Right. And finally, he reaches these 2 gates.
Oh, tell me about these gates.
All right, so the first one is the Great Riddle Gate. And strangely, when he goes through it, he doesn't feel afraid.
So it's not a scary gate.
No, he actually feels this sense of relief because when he's inside the gate, he can hear his own footsteps.
That's interesting.
Right. It's almost like facing the unknown head-on makes it less scary.
Huh, yeah. And the second gate.
Well, that's the Magic Mirror Gate, and it's round and made of silver. Silver. And when Atreyu looks into it, he expects to see a reflection of himself, right?
Right.
But what he sees is something else entirely. A fat little boy with a pale face sitting on a pile of mats, reading a book, wrapped in blankets with animals all around him.
It's Bastian.
It is. The book is describing Bastian himself.
No way. So Bastian's reading this, and he must be totally freaking out.
Totally. Imagine reading a book and it suddenly starts talking about you.
I would lose it.
It's like the story's breaking the fourth wall.
Right, like it's reaching out from the pages and grabbing you.
And I think this is where Bastian starts to realize that maybe, just maybe, he's somehow connected to Fantastica in a very real way.
It's like he's not just an observer anymore.
Right. So Atreyu goes through the Magic Mirror Gate, but there's a price to pay.
Oh no, what happens?
As he passes through the gate, he feels this shudder, and when he comes out the other side, he's lost all memory of himself. He doesn't remember his past, his quest, even his own name.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. He's completely lost and alone. And in this state, he comes across this very mysterious oracle called Ulala.
Uyula. Okay, tell me about her.
She lives in this silent, dreamlike place called the Temple of Sleep, and she doesn't speak.
She doesn't speak.
No, but she communicates through song.
Through song, interesting.
And her song reveals something crucial.
What's that?
The childlike empress needs a new name.
A new name?
A new name. And the really crazy thing is, only a human child can give it to her.
Wow. So the fate of Fantastica rests on a human child.
Exactly.
And what about Atreyu? Does he remember who he is?
Yeah, the moment Uyula's song ends, his memories come flooding back.
It's like a dam breaking.
Totally. And suddenly he understands his true mission.
Which is
find a human child and bring them back to Fantastica.
Wow. So Bastian, reading all this, I bet he's thinking, how can I help? How do I get to Fantastica?
Right. He desperately wants to help Atreyu, but he has no idea how.
Neither of them really know the way, do they?
No, not yet, anyway. So Atreyu continues his journey, and he finds that the landscape has changed drastically. The forest of columns, the magic mirror gate, the riddle gate, they're all gone.
Gone.
Yeah, just ruins now. It's a really stark visual reminder of the destructive power of the nothing.
It's like it's consuming everything in its path.
Exactly. But then Atreyu sees something familiar in the distance. Falcor's flag?
Falcor, the luck dragon.
Yes. Atreyu finds him at Engiwook's observatory.
And they have a joyful reunion, right?
Oh, yeah. Falcor's described as pearly white.
Beautiful.
And he's so happy to see Atreyu. He calls him friend and master. Oh, that's so sweet. But Atreyu is super confused because he thinks it's only been one night since they were separated.
Right. But Falcor's like, no, it's been 7 days and nights.
Whoa, time really is messed up in Fantastica.
Seriously messed up. And when Atreyu looks closely, he sees that Falcor's wounds, the ones he got before, they're almost completely healed.
Amazing. So they fly to the gnome's cave.
Right. And it's a happy reunion with Engiwook and Urgle.
Well, I love Engiwook and Urgle too.
Yes. But, you know, even in this moment of relief and comfort, there's this stark contrast between Engiwook's scientific curiosity.
Right. He just wants to bombard Atreyu with questions.
Exactly. And then there's Urgle, who's more concerned with Atreyu's well-being.
She just wants to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, like a good mom.
Yep.
And as they're all eating together, Bastian reading this, he has this thought about his chocolate nut bars.
Oh, poor Bastian. He must be starving.
Right. And it's this little detail that reminds us that Bastian is still just a kid back in his own world.
This is a little grounding moment.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so now that Atreyu doesn't have Aurian, what does he do?
That's a big problem, right?
Yeah.
Because without Aurian, he feels totally lost. He doesn't know what to do or where to go.
So it wasn't just about protection?
No, it was more than that. Atreyu realizes that Aurin was guiding his thoughts, like a compass pointing him in the right direction.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a direct link to the childlike Empress's will.
Wow, so it really was a powerful object.
It really was. And then Atreyu has this encounter with the wind giants, and they reveal something really disturbing.
What's that?
Fantastica has no borders.
No borders.
No borders. And that means that there's no way to call for help from the human world.
Oh no, that's bad news for Fantastica.
It's really bad news. It means that Fantastica might just cease to exist.
So all hope is lost.
Well, not quite, because Atreyu remembers something Uyulila said, that humans had come to Fantastica before.
Oh, right.
So there's still a chance that someone might remember the way.
Bastian must be thinking, well, I don't know the way.
Right. He's as lost as Atreyu in that sense.
Okay, so then what happens?
Well, Atreyu encounters this really creepy procession of spooks.
The boofs?
Yeah, like ghosts. And they don't even seem to notice him, which is really unsettling.
That's so creepy.
Right. And then he comes across this werewolf, Dromark, and he's chained up.
Dromark the werewolf?
Yeah, and he explains that he was sent to Fantastica to prevent anyone from the human world from coming in.
To prevent humans from entering Fantastica.
Exactly.
Why would anyone want to do that?
Well, Dromark says that both worlds, Fantastica and the human world, they're connected, and they're both suffering.
They're connected.
Yeah. He says that the lies and delusions that come from the destruction of Fantastica, they actually blind people in the human world.
Blind them out.
Well, they prevent people from seeing the truth, from seeing what's really important.
And Bastian, reading this, what do you think he's thinking?
I think he's starting to realize that maybe his own lies, his own ways of escaping reality are contributing to the problem.
Wow, that's a pretty heavy realization for a kid.
It really is. But it makes him want to fight even harder to save Fantastica.
So Dromark was sent to stop humans from entering Fantastica. Did he succeed?
No, he failed. He was supposed to find the human child who was trying to get into Fantastica, but he got trapped.
Trapped? By who?
By the Dark Princess. She tricked him and chained him up in this place called the City of Ghosts.
Oh no, so he can't complete his mission.
No, and the Dark Princess, well, she's going into the nothing.
So she's not going to help him.
Nope, and Dromark warns that the nothing is getting stronger.
Oh, that's bad news.
Very bad news. So meanwhile, Atreyu is getting weaker and weaker, and he collapses.
Oh no, poor Atreyu. But Falkor comes to the rescue, right?
He does. Falkor swoops down and saves Atreyu just in time.
Yay, Falkor. So they fly towards the ivory tower, and as they get closer, they start to notice that they're being affected by the nothing, like they're losing their color.
Exactly. Falkor is worried about Atreyu's wound, and he seems to have a wound of his own that he doesn't talk about.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, and as they fly, they talk about the childlike Empress.
The golden-eyed commander of wishes.
Yes, and Falkor tells Atreyu about his own encounter with the Empress.
What was it like?
Well, it changed him. He says that meeting her was this incredibly transformative experience.
Wow. And what's she like? I mean, what does she look like?
Falkor describes her as looking like a little girl, but she's ageless. She has this timeless quality about her.
It sounds like she's both powerful and vulnerable at the same time.
Exactly. And poor Atreyu, he has to tell her that there's no hope.
That's a tough job.
It is. Falkor tells him to just be honest with her, to tell her the truth.
And does Atreyu have any questions about the childlike Empress?
Oh, he has lots of questions. He wonders about her power, about Oryn, about where she comes from. He doesn't understand why no one knows her true identity.
Right, it's a big mystery.
It is. And there's this warning that if he tries to learn too much, he might cease to exist.
Whoa. That's intense.
Yeah. So they finally reach the ivory tower and they fly over the labyrinth, and it's just devastation everywhere. All the flowers are withered and gray. There's the smell of rot in the air.
Oh, that's awful.
But the ivory tower is still this perfect white, untouched by the nothing.
Wow, that's amazing. So what happens next?
Well, Falkor is getting weaker, and Atreyu is badly hurt, so Falkor has to make an emergency landing.
Where do they land?
At the top of the high street, this long, spiraling street that leads up to the tower.
Okay.
And when they get there, there's no one around.
No one?
No one. It's like the whole tower is deserted.
That's eerie.
Totally eerie. Falkor reminds Atreyu to return the gem.
Oh, right. Auryn. Atreyu has to bring it back to the Empress.
Yeah. And then Falkor flies off, and Atreyu begins this long, painful climb up the stairs of the tower.
Oh, poor Atreyu. He's injured, he's weak, and he has to climb all these stairs.
It's a really tough climb. He leaves a trail of blood behind him,
Oh, no.
and he goes through all these different parts of the tower.
Like what?
Well, there's a gallery, a courtyard with fountains, an ivory garden, all these beautiful places, but they're all deserted.
Sounds so lonely.
It is. And finally, he reaches the Magnolia Pavilion at the very top.
Where the childlike empress is waiting for him.
Exactly. And when he appears in the doorway, she looks so frail, so pale.
But still beautiful.
Yeah, still beautiful. She has these amazing golden eyes and snow-white hair.
She sounds like a character from a fairy tale.
She really does. And she speaks to Atreyu, and she says that she's been waiting for him.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like she knew he was coming. And she knows that he lost his memory.
So she knows everything.
It seems like it. And then she explains to him that Fantastica is a reflection of human imagination.
So Fantastica is basically fueled by the dreams and stories of humans.
Exactly. And she says that Fantastica is sick because people in the human world have stopped believing.
They've stopped believing in what?
In anything, really. In magic, in stories, in the power of imagination.
Oh, I see.
And because of that, Fantastica is dying. And the Empress, she needs a new name to be reborn.
Yeah, who can give her this new name?
A human child.
A human child.
And Bastian, reading all this, he realizes that the childlike Empress is talking to him.
Whoa, that's a huge twist.
It is. The book is literally talking to the reader.
That's amazing.
And the Empress is asking Bastian for help.
Wow, so Bastian is the only one who can save Fantastica.
It seems that way.
So, just to recap, we've journeyed with Bastian as he got totally lost in the never-ending story, and we followed Atreyu on his quest to save Fantastica.
We've seen the power of imagination and how it can literally shape worlds.
And we've learned that the fate of Fantastica rests in the hands of a human child, a reader just like you.
Exactly.
So, here's something to think about. What would you name the childlike empress? If you had the power to shape Fantastica, what kind of world would you create?
And what happens when we stop believing? What happens to the stories, the dreams, the magic that makes life worth living?
These are really important questions, and we encourage you to keep exploring them. There's so much more to discover in the never-ending story.
Definitely. Keep reading, keep believing, and keep that imagination alive.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fun.
See you next time.